with us. It's going to wake us up. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, alive. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. 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 Job. Now that you're awake. Yes. You can sing Unite with Me song. Unite with me in song. Together for eternity. Unite with me in sisterhood. Together for eternity. Unite with me, brotherhood. Unite with me in brotherhood. Unite with me in song. Together for eternity. Unite with me. Unite with me to bless this land. Unite with me in song. Together for eternity. Unite with me. Harmony. Unite with me in harmony. Unite with me in song. Together for eternity. Unite with me. Good job. And then one more song called Pass It On. You might be singing it by yourself.
Do we have the words for Pass It On? Oh. Oh, well, bless your little heart. Okay, we will listen to the ladies, and we'll hum and sing when we can.
It only takes a spark to get a fire going, and soon all those around will warm up to its glowing. That's how it will once you've experienced it, you spread His love to everyone you want to pass it on. What a wondrous time is spring, when all the trees are budding, the birds begin to sing, the flowers start their blooming. That's how it is in God's love. Once you've experienced it, you want to sing. It's fresh like spring. You want to pass it on. For all my friends, this happiness that I've found, on Him you can depend. It matters not where you're bound. I'll shout in love from mountains top. I want the world to know the Lord of love has come to me. I want to pass it on. I'll shout in love from mountains top. I want the world to know the Lord of love has come to me. I want to pass it on.
Thank you. And now we will sing the Lord's Prayer. If you'll join our lovely chorus.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth
Thank you, and welcome, 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 everybody who came through the almost sunshine. Isn't this lovely weather? We have winter in the morning and spring, and then sometimes 1 hour of summer in the afternoon. It keeps us on our toes. We have, prayer pilgrims, me. Ben has been trained. If you want a prayer after church, you just go tackle him. He's a good person to tackle and hug. So we're here to provide prayer support. And we also, Margaret and I call people throughout the month. If you'd like a once a month call, let the office know your phone number, and we'll call you and share some thoughts or pray with you, whatever is needed. Next month, on the last Sunday in February, we plan to have our church birthday party. Plan to join us. I figured we could sing to ourselves. It's our church birthday, 91st, I think, yeah. If you need to contact the church for information or to drop something off, Jackie's here Tuesdays and Thursdays, usually 10:30 to 12:30, unless she's running to the bank with baskets and baskets of money that's been done. And you can drop off donations for our food pantry. There's been, some need throughout the pandemic. People have had some more challenges. And it's so nice to have someone call, and Joni and Donna will fix up a nice bag for them, and they can feel relieved and supported and know that they're not alone going through things. So if you want to bring in some food anytime, we have a little box in the back. You could drop it off or pick up a few things and drop them off at the church. Our church phone number, if you need to contact us, is 209-578-5433. Now, our daily word this morning, I don't know who sets these up in the order they set them in, but I thought they've read the news. World peace. And let us send some special thoughts to the Russian borders, okay? I loved it when on the news the other night, a woman in Russia was interviewed, and she said, "We don't want a war." And I thought, well, God bless you. See, it's those of us at this level of politics that don't want it. So this morning, our positive statement is, I envision all people living in harmony. Sometimes I wonder about my place in a world that is changing so rapidly. I realize that many of the world's people may be wondering the same thing, no matter which side of the border they're on. Change can feel scary, especially when I feel as though I have to navigate a shifting landscape alone. I expand my awareness and wonder whether others are feeling the same way I do. Feeling fearful or insecure can overwhelm feelings of peace. As peace seems further and further away, it's easy to drift into isolation and discord. So, I pray, reclaiming peace by feeling my divine identity as a child of God. I remember that all people share this divine identity. I include all the world's people in my prayer, envisioning us coming together in harmony to create a peaceful world. And from Hebrews 12:14, pursue peace with everyone and the holiness without which no one will see the Lord. And now we have a prayer box in the back, or you can write down your concerns and put it in there. And we're going to join in consciousness right now to say a prayer for everyone who's in there, and remember everyone in our congregation. So the first thing we do is remind ourselves that there's only one power, one presence, very harmonious, all working together in divine order. And that power, that presence is in, through, and around everything. There is not one single solitary atom in the universe that goes out further than we think that isn't a part of that. So it's working through us and through everyone for whom we have a concern. Even the people that are just in our mind, we haven't written it down yet. but anyone and everyone that comes to mind. And we're especially remembering Norman this morning. And we're knowing that that presence and power works in divine right order. That for Norman and everyone dealing with any health challenges, that mind, that presence, that power is guiding each and every single solitary medical person at every level. So that each person is receiving what they need at the right time. And that body parts and pieces are healed in divine right order. The medical people are guided. The medications work well. And we send our love and blessings to all those people in hospitals and medical clinics. We bless all the scientists that are working so diligently to find cures, new methods, new medications. We bless them and know that all of it, way beyond the scope that we can think of, is working together for that end result of total, perfect healing, all in divine right order. And as we feel that, we feel relief, because we let go, we release any of our concerns and worries. And as we do so, we are healed, and so are the people we're thinking about, because we're letting go, and we let God power work in divine right order. And knowing that is so relaxing, and we just automatically slip into thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. And now, we have an affirmation. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath and all say together, I claim my innate spiritual divine power of the one power. All the powers that are in the one in us. Wonderful. We're not doing this alone. And now we're going to have some music, and then Monica will lead us through a meditation. You are the light of the world. And in this moment, I invite you to just feel that support of where you're sitting, your feet firmly planted on the ground. And with me, I invite you to breathe in the love and light of the world together. Exhaling the light and the love back out into the world. And just feeling that breath again together, breathing it in as it opens up our hearts to that oneness together.
And exhaling. And coming present in this moment, this mindful moment. Letting go of what has come before, what will come after. Coming into your divine identity and knowing that omniscience, all consciousness, feel that consciousness, that universal consciousness that we float in. Omnipotence, all powerful. Feel that just rippling through your heart. Your divine identity is part of this divine nature. Omnipresence, that you are part of that presence, this universal oneness, interconnected with every soul, every beautiful soul, Norman, everyone that is requesting prayer. There is no separation. Feel that divine nature. Feel and know that you are the wave in the ocean. There is no separation. And as you claim your innate power of the one power, feel that power, that self-mastery, that spiritual authority, that concentration. There is nothing that you need to do. It is already present. It is your birthright. You are made in the likeness and image of the one, of the divine, of God, whatever name you use, connect with. That in this moment, just feel that power. Opening up your heart. Opening up your heart to that love. There is only love. Love heals all. And that as you continue to breathe and be breathed through, know that with every breath, love fills your heart. That divine light, that divine innate love that you are, that is part of your divine identity. Breathing and just feeling it in this moment, in the silence. I am that I am. I am that I am. One with spirit. No separation. I continue with each breath to claim my divine power of the one power and that divine love. Being able to relax into and surrender and feel the sacredness of this expansive divine nature that is ours in every breath. That as you claim your divine identity of power, you experience that consciousness of divine nature. I am that I am. In this moment, we are filled with appreciation and gratitude to know the truth, to be the truth of the one power and love, and And so it is. It is already done. Amen.
You might remind us of who you are. I should have introduced.
Oh.
You know, we all know and love Monica.
Oh, you're
So now
you're so
now
sweet.
she tell us one more.
You know, it isn't. I'm Monica Hart, and my home church is Spiritual Life Center with Rev James Trapp, who was at one time the CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries. And I'll just mention this: all of his talks are recorded. They're all on Spiritual Life Center. So if you ever want to tune in and get an extra boost of love and support, it's there. So I have the privilege of leading the chaplain team at Spiritual Life Center. So enough of that. So I am so grateful to be invited back to be with you. Happy New Year and Chinese New Year that is on February the 2nd. Tuesday. Okay, so the 1st, and you can celebrate it on the 2nd too. And the 3rd and the 4th, and not to mention that Miss Marilyn, apparently when I walked in this morning, I said, are you still celebrating your birthday? Right? I mean, she is you did know about her birthday, right? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. She's my role model. When I grow up, I want to be like her. Yes. Are you ready to claim your innate spiritual divine power of the one power? Yes, good. So what I'd like to do is spend some time with you this morning and talk about this. I have the power to create my world. And this is one of our 12 capacities. So what we're going to talk about is divine identity, divine nature. What is our spiritual innate capacity within us called power? How can we fully express our power? And so the information that I'm going to share with you this morning is actually taken from a couple of books. And one of them is How to Pray Without Talking to God. Reverend Linda Martello-Whitsitt. She is the VP of Silent Unity Worldwide Ministries. And so I am actually getting ready to teach that class at Spiritual Life Center, a Zoom class for 4 weeks, starting on Wednesday. So I can certainly share some information about that after the service. So this idea of, how do I pray? How do you pray without talking to God? Well, we're going to talk about that, but not to God. The other book, Divine Audacity. And I actually have Reverend Linda doing a Zoom class in March that is open to anyone. And if you've not had the pleasure of being in her presence to feel that connection where she expresses that divine identity and divine nature, I really invite you to take a look at that. Do you know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? For God's temple is holy, and that temple is you. Corinthians 3:16 and 17. We know God is oneness, and we are one with God. God is oneness, and we are one with God. God is the name for divine within us. God is not out there. According to our unity principles, we believe that God is within. You were made in the divine image and likeness of an irrevocable truth. We are that oneness, that divine identity. So your divine identity is just as you are. You are divine, life, love, wisdom, living in you and flowing through you. Can you breathe that? Can you just feel that in this moment? That as you sit in that divine identity, that you feel that breath just lifting you and filling you with the flow of your divine nature. So Reverend Dr. Paul Hesselbeck, I don't know if you're familiar with him, he's the Dean of Unity Spiritual Education and Enrichment. And he is actually in the process of updating and bringing everything up to this current time, all of the metaphysics that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore created unity from. So he says this: I am the presence of pure beingness, that is you, each of us, expressing the whole spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I am the presence of pure beingness, expressing the whole spirit of life, love, and wisdom. So divine identity is always intact. You are this divine identity. It's complete. It's immutable, independent of any of your actions. It is always wholly, whole, and complete. All you ever need is within you already, so you do not need to go in search of it. We have the hearts of divine love, the minds of divine wisdom, the lives of divine life. The love principle, the wisdom principle, and the life principle are our divine nature. We claim divine identity, your golden true self. So what is divine nature? Well, divine nature is woven into our divine identity. When we realize our divine identity, we pray from our divine consciousness to recognize and acknowledge our divine nature. You are the fullness of divine nature, ineffable, indescribable, as we experience and feel it. The Most High, the true light, divine mind, source, the Holy One, infinite love. That is formless, yet capable of taking any form, unseen, yet appearing in visions, unknowingly, yet revealing itself to each of us, timeless, yet pondered in every era through history. Confusing, yet compelling. Divine nature is your true nature. How do you feel about it? When do you feel it? Where is that? Where do you experience that divine nature? Well, you know, I've shared with you that I have a little fur baby, Carmel Louise Hart, aka Carmi, and she and I run 5 miles every day. And so if you walk, whether you're gardening, as you walk and you feel your divine identity connecting to that divine nature, whenever you're out in nature and walking, you just sink into it. There's a sense of shifting and knowing that there's no separation from your divine identity. And I know that when Carmi is chasing that squirrel or that duck, she is absolutely experiencing her divine nature and divine identity. It is the rhythm of your heart, the sound of your feet, whatever it is. It may be looking into the eyes of a child, visiting someone who's in a hospital, who's recovering from something, and there is this sense of you step in with your divine identity, your one power, and there is this connection. It's you sit in this sacred, beautiful place, this blanket, and know that the power is all around and we are all one. Jesus taught about it. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5, verse 14. Is it not written in your law, I said you are God's, John 10, verse 34. That is, all that is our true nature. We are divine. One of the ways that I have experienced this over the last 25 years, when I would work with a client, a life coaching client, and I would say to that client, please go ahead and record this session because I will not be able to remember a thing that I've said. That is that feeling of divine nature. You slip into that place where you can feel it flowing through you as you connect your consciousness, your divine consciousness. It is, perhaps you've experienced this praying with others. Ben is great at praying, as Rev Nancy said. It's this sense of you step into that presence and you connect one with that other beautiful soul, knowing that you're all one. And you become that channel. The words come through, the feeling, it's like floating. And you connect with knowing that you are that infinite self. That infinite self, and we feel the inner peace, joy, and well-being, which broadens our perspective of oneness that exists beyond time, space, as we give ourselves fully into life. We surrender, knowing that we are one. So, what is this spiritual capability, that this innate power in each of us? Well, power, as we know, is one of our Unity 12 powers, and I know that you've been reviewing those this month, talking about the different powers that we each represent that are innate within us. So, spiritual tools for an abundant life, an aspect of our soul growth. So Charles Fillmore, Unity co-founder, was influenced by the transcendental movement that led him to Eastern spirituality. You probably already know this, which he integrated with Christianity to create the 12-power system. So Fillmore based all of this knowing there is only one divine spark within each of us. And he used the disciples of Jesus, and each one represented one of the 12 powers. Philip is the disciple that represents power over our thoughts and feelings, which is self-mastery and spiritual presence. And when you think about this one power that is within each of us, that is always present, that we are simply a channel. When Ben prays with someone, he becomes that channel. It comes through. We can't store this power. It flows into our body from the Christ center at the top of the head and is released in the form of radiant energy from the root of the tongue through the center of the throat. As you breathe, can you feel that power, that divine power, that one power? So our power is released by consciously speaking positive, powerful words of truth. Rev Nancy last week shared or 2 weeks ago shared a talk about kindness. Kindness is part of that power, that divine power. That as we speak it, as we show up, as we feel it, as we vibrationally connect with others, they feel our one power. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Matthew 28, verse 18. Power that rules the world is within. Charles Fillmore, atom smashing power of mind. And one of our familiar unity affirmations, and Rev Nancy mentioned this, started to speak this morning. And I want you to just breathe it in, close your eyes for a moment, and feel this power. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent. Let's say that again together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent. And Emily Katie's work, Lessons in Truth, which is my absolute favorite book, God is not a being that expressed power. God is power itself. God is power itself. We are divine power expressing powerfully. We are created for power, to succeed, to move forward and accomplish, to use to improve or control human life, money, material things, cultivating our spiritual power for inner transformation and blessing others for good. Keep in mind, power is not to be used for control, selfish gain, or satisfaction of personal ego, but the forward spiritual movement of the whole, a gift of God freely given. It enables us to attain the end result of bringing forth God ideas on earth. How can we live and express our power ability? How do we do that? How do we fully step in and express that? Well, there are 3 ways. One is concentration. Concentration. Harnessing our concentration ability of optimism and aligning that concentration with our divine identity. That is, we focus on one thing at a time, letting go of multitasking, single-mindedness. So if any of you have ever learned a sport, golf, how many of you golf? Okay, a couple of you. You know, with golf, with tennis, with playing the piano, an organ, whatever it is, in the beginning, there is that sense of trying to visualize every single movement. Holding the club, swinging it, looking at the ball, keeping your head a certain way if you're playing golf. And what happens is when we get into the multitasking of trying to remember every step and every single thing we need to do, we diminish our capacity to achieve or concentrate. A good example is watching a child learn how to ride a bicycle. And if you've ever, and maybe remembering yourself or saying to that child, keep pedaling, look ahead, keep your head up, is your helmet on, keep your hands on the steering wheel and pedal. So everything is not in that sequence, that flow, but that sense of having to start, stop, and think about all of the tasks that are involved, which take us away from that concentration. It puts us in our head rather than just feeling that connection of ease. So when I was an adolescent, I would go out and golf with my mother in Canada, and that was, of course, many, 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 many years ago. Fast forward, when I worked at AAA as a regional manager, quite often we would be invited to go to a leadership retreat with AAA executives. So we were all invited to go to La Cañada in Monterey. And I'm sure we were there because it was a 4-diamond rated facility and it was part of the AAA. And however, it wasn't an easy course to play. And I had not played golf since I was an adolescent. And I can't make up my mind whether I'm right-handed or left-handed. Golf, I am left-handed. So just kind of bear with me here. Here I am trying to get the right clubs because I'm short, blah, blah, blah. And I'm standing there and I am absolutely terrified. I'm with my authority and my bosses, and I'm holding the club, trying to get in position. I hit the ball, and I hit the leg of one of the executives. He was injured. I received the award as the worst golfer. It probably prevented me. I can feel it coming back right now. I'm in a sweat right now. I can see myself standing there. It was so embarrassing. He had a goose egg on his leg that we had to stop and get ice. It was, the point of the story was I was not concentrating. I was not in that single-mindedness. I was busy multitasking with my mind, with my arm, with the golf swing. And I wasn't able to fully be in my power, my divine power, which is concentration. So I want you to think about that today. How are you really harnessing that unlimited power in your life? So one other quick story, and I'll keep going because I know we're going to run out of. So the other day, Carmi and I are out running. We did our 5 miles, and I look behind, and she's usually way behind me. Carmi, come on, go, 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 go. She got a little closer, and there's something hanging out of her mouth that's about the color of Carmi, kind of light colored, blonde colored looking. And I'm going, it's probably a chicken bone she picked up somewhere along the way. She got a little closer. She's got a 2-day-old McDonald's French fry hanging out of her mouth. She had a single-mindedness, concentration on that French fry. She was not going to let go of it. She came up to me and I tried to pull it out of her mouth. Go ahead, eat it. The point of the story is single-minded concentration to activate your power. I hope you'll remember that story. So, second way to activate your divine power, your power ability, is self-mastery or self-control. It's about your capacity to guide your thoughts, words, and actions in integrity with your infinite self instead of reacting from human ego. And that becomes even more of an opportunity. I don't like to use the word challenging. It's an opportunity for us to step back into our divine identity, which is love and light, in any moment when someone is perhaps not showing up completely in their divine identity. So we do have the self-control to manage our thoughts and words that are only love. The only thing that can heal is love. We want to respect ourselves and others. We want to move from really fooling ourselves to only being in that truth. We are acting from our humanness when we use our words or show up in a certain behavior. And it's really going back inside to look at what are those beliefs or attitudes that are within me that are triggering my way of showing up as a self-master and self-control of love of my thoughts. What is it that's triggering me? What is that work that I need to do to heal and forgive? Remembering no one and nothing is against us. No one and nothing is against us. So we want to claim our wholeness, self-determination, and our power. Learning to trust ourselves with our one power. Have you ever given your power to another person? I certainly have. To a colleague, to a friend, family member. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone who absolutely dominates the conversation, and you leave the conversation feeling like, do I count? How can you regain that power of being that expression of your divine identity and knowing that you can step in to a situation like that and show up with that love and that power? To be able to get their attention so that they might be willing to listen and that you acknowledge each other's power equally. So being able to take control, also one of the other areas that comes up around not being able to take control, it's called compulsions. And it's this compulsion, I went to Trader Joe's, a month ago. Thank God I have not been back since. And I walk in the front door and, okay, Monica, no more milk chocolate and toffee. You know where it is. It's in the frozen section and it's up on the shelf. No. So I'm really trying to exercise my divine identity. I have complete, unlimited power within me. I walked out with 2 boxes. What is your compulsion? Here's another one. This one is really serious. Fixed attitudes. I'll give you an example. This has been with me my whole life. If I don't exercise 2 hours a day, then I think it's not good enough. It won't have any effect. What fixed attitude do you have? Are you writing a book? And with writers, there's this commitment that you must commit to step into your power to write so many hours a day. What is one of those fixed attitudes? We give our power over to our fixed beliefs. Fixed beliefs that affect our fixed attitudes. If we can uncover our fixed attitudes about life and ourselves, we can release our inner power of self-mastery. And I just want to read Eric Butterworth. And it's from his book. And you know, I don't know how many of you have had an opportunity to go back and read some of these Unity publications and books. This is one that I was not familiar with. It's called Breaking the 10 Commandments. And so this is, he says this about attitudes and beliefs. We also hold fixed false attitudes. He calls them graven images about ourselves. I can relate to all of what I'm going to share with you. I am weak, not as smart, worthless, unlovable, incapable, and the list goes on. The human illusion of our ego that sometimes I certainly step into, and then I've got to step back into my divine identity. So he goes on to say, to be created in the image of God means that in the beginning, in principle, you were formed as an idea in infinite mind. You can never be less than the God idea in expression. You do not need a new self-image. What you need is to let go of the graven image of yourself, the false beliefs, the false attitudes. Those are the ones that are carved into the fabric, he says, of our self-conscious mind. And to know and release your divine image, one of your innate divine identity, divine powers of the one power. Have you ever walked into a room and perhaps you're not feeling really, really good? For some reason, you've fallen asleep and slipped out of your divine identity. And you walk into a room and you know that everyone in that room feels your vibration. It is really being aware of your own power. And as you walk into a room or wherever you are, even without a word, being part of the collective consciousness of raising the vibration and the one power for everyone. And sometimes when I'm not feeling up to that level, If I step in and I surrender and trust my oneness with Spirit, somehow in that moment, everything shifts. And I'm caught into the vibration of someone who says something most amazing, like Miss Marilyn. This morning, she was sharing wisdom with me. And what she did was she raised my vibration and everyone here this morning. When you trust and respect yourself, that is when you stand in your self-mastery. So there's a third way to raise and step into the divine power of the one power, and it's called spiritual authority. Let there be and let me be are not pleas for power, not pleas for God to act or cause us to act. It is an inward call as a command to be our spiritual authority. That is our innate authority. This is the cry of our Creator, as we were singing earlier. Let there be light. You are the light of the world. You are the love of the world. And I can remember when I was completing my clinical chaplaincy program at Kaiser in Sacramento, and I would look at the list of patients that I would be calling on and knowing what the diagnosis was, what was going on with them. And before I would go up to the medical unit, ICU or emergency, I would slip into the chapel. I'd slip into the chapel. I'd sit in the silence, and I would surrender to claim and know that my divine identity of that one power connected with the divine nature would be with me as I walked up to the units. I could feel that field of spiritual authority. How do you renew your spiritual authority? How do you reclaim that power that is already there for you? It's right there, that divine nature, right here, right now, as we sit here. Can you feel that field of divine nature? The vibration, the energy. Feel it, breathe it. We're in this beautiful sacred space of each one of you being so unique, your divine identity, and we're all interconnected. There is no separation. And so as I left the chapel, I could feel wrapped around me that divine nature of presence with ease and grace. And I would surrender and shift into my oneness with Spirit. We know that Jesus' authority came from the Father, his source of inner wisdom. We too must partner that power with wisdom to be centered in spiritual authority. So let's take a moment just to summarize what we've talked about this morning. Our divine identity is just as you are. You are divine life, love, wisdom living in you, flowing through you. Our divine nature is indescribable. It's right here. Feel it. It's the Most High, the true light, divine mind, source, the Holy One, infinite love. Can you feel it? Can you feel your divine identity just being wrapped like a blanket in that divine nature? Our power is released by consciously speaking positive, powerful words of truth. And we know there are 3 ways to fully live the capacity of our power: concentration, self-mastery, self-control, and spiritual authority. So let's take a moment right now. I invite you just to close your eyes for a second and breathe. Allow that breath of that divine power, that one power. Allow that. Just feel the overflowing gratitude and appreciation. To affirm with me the presence and the power of Spirit now manifest in me and through me. I use my inner power for good in our world. And so, Spirit, we trust and know that as we surrender and align with the truth of our innate divine power, of the one power, we are guided, we listen. That inner voice guides us to speak only love as we rest and float in that connection with divine nature. And so it is. Amen.
I feel like we could just sort of float out of here right now. So we're going to have to bring ourselves back from that cloud 9, where we've just been lifted up to, and we're going to have some music, and then we're going to get to share.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark secret night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how they do. They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you. That just made our world more wonderful. And now we have an opportunity to share that giving that is one of the ways that we affirm our divine self. So let's take in our hand whatever we have to offer, or maybe the person next to you, all sorts of good stuff around here. And let's share by saying, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Because he gives to me, I praise and bless it with his love, from whom I set him free. I give my love, my gift I bless, and giving brings me happiness. I give my offering to God, because he gives to me. I praise and bless it with his love. I give and love, my gift I bless, and giving brings me
All our blessings have already flowed to us, and we find joy in discovering, and even more joy in sharing all our love of God in all of it. Us, our church, on out in the world. So it is.
Amen. And so now we're going to close the service with the peace song, followed by the prayer for protection.
We go forth knowing the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a magnificent week. And be sure and give Monica a hug and tell her thank you.
Oh, that's I don't know. Yeah, I know. That's Joyce. That would be yours.
It is.